Hello, welcome to Footprint. My name is Samuel Atamensa. We are here to do a continuation of what we started with Dr. Alex Glover Quartey, who was the head of civil service at some point. We'll take a short break. When we come back, story begins. Welcome back, and this is Footprint. So, Doc, we in our first episode, you took us through, the beginning, where you grew up, schooling and everything. And we've done Swedu Secondary School, we've done Achimota School for sixth form. And then you ended up University of Ghana.
Yes.
Yeah. How was life in University of Ghana at the time? Which year did you enter University of Ghana?
1965.
1965.
It was still a glorious period when you were served by Stuart to go entered there.
You were served food?
Yeah, you went in and you were served.
For free?
Yes.
You didn't pay for it?
No, you just went and sat there.
And
then
you eat the food like that?
The food.
And I'm told they used to pay you guys something.
Yes, you pay.
They used to pay you to go to school?
Yes.
Hey. And then they gave you food too?
Yes, you got up in the morning to go to lectures. You just handed your keys to the porter. You came back and your room was swept and neat and everything.
No, hang on, man.
Every Wednesday you had to wear the gown and tie and so on, because there was formal dinner on Wednesday night, Sunday night. So you had to dress properly.
Ah.
Yes.
So you are going to school, no? Somebody will clean your room for you.
Yes.
Somebody will clean your room for you. You go for breakfast, lunch, supper.
Yes.
And somebody will come and clean the place.
In between lunch and supper, there was snacks.
Why hasn't anybody told me this before? So you have snacks?
Would you have pleaded to be born earlier?
No, you are the people who squandered Ghana's money. People, it's not free SHS. Free SHS. Oh, so you had that?
Yes.
And you were giving allowance too?
Yes, we were giving, started with 13, we called it 30 million. 30 cedis a term for the art students. And that it was more for the science students.
Yes. Wow.
And I know some were looking after the brothers and family with that money.
With that money. Oh, that must be a lot then.
Yes.
Wow. So tell me, when you went to Legon, University of Ghana at the time, with a cohort, how many were you? You remember?
In the whole university.
Well, your year group. Were there many people?
Oh, we were just enough to. We were not that many to make it difficult for all these services to be rendered.
That's my estimation.
Yes, we enjoyed life. When you were giving food, it was
proper food.
Yes, plenty of meat and big sizes.
Oh, my did you know? Wow. So who were some of the people you met, who later on became, if you like, prominent in public life?
Oh, yes. Some of them, like the late Professor J.A. Mills.
Oh, okay.
I met him in Achimota. He was in Upper Six when I went to Lower Six.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then we were in Legon Hall together.
Wow. So he was 1 year ahead of you in Legon Hall?
1 year ahead of me. And then there was Boachijan.
The military man?
The military man. He was my classmate at Achimota.
Oh, wow.
He came from Opokuwari
Was?
to Achimota for the sixth form.
And then joined the army, or still went to
And then
Legon
after
before?
Legon, he went to join the army.
Oh, okay.
There was Afarijan,
Oh, Dr. Farijan
Dr.
too.
Afarijan, who came from Adisado
He came from a disco.
to Achmota.
Whoa.
So, yes, we
Oh,
were
so
made-
Farijan did 1 to 5 in Adisado and
Yes,
then did
and
set
then
form in
set form
Achimota.
in Achimota.
And then you met him again in
Yes,
Legon.
yes. Then there were others. There was Professor Osom Matekoli, Michael Matekoli,
Okay.
who was in fact my classmate.
The medicine
Yes,
one.
he was
Okay.
my classmate from class 1.
Wow.
And then I think he went to Adisado. And then, there were many. There was this famous, brilliant, extremely brilliant guy called J.O.O.
Kome,
Kome.
the doctor.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Kome. I remember
Yes,
him from
Joseph
Kolibu.
Odai.
Yeah.
Yes, Joseph Oliver Odai Kome. And we were in Lego Hall together. He and Dr. Alute were the people who shocked me about studies, I remembered Dr. Alute had told me he had finished his revision. And I didn't understand how you can finish a revision.
Revision.
You are going to do your exam. And they said, no, they had finished. But if you check the records of both of them, it's amazing. I mean, Joe Kobe collected all the prizes in his year group up to the time we finished.
Wow.
It is tragic that he died so early.
Well, I think I remember the children, Olivera and the rest in
Okay.
Kolibu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so after that, you ended up, you majored in French, right?
I majored in French. I had the exceptional blessing because when I went to the first year, the Legon had started something they never did again. They did just once. Were made to take an entrance exam for French, and they selected some of us to do the honors degree in French from the first year.
Oh, okay.
And then we were made to select a second subject to support, So instead of doing 3 subjects and an FUE at the end of the year, by which they determined which one you do honors with in, we started the French course in the first year with another discipline
Which would be your second.
as a subsidiary.
So you ended up doing 2
2 courses
Courses.
in the first year.
in the first year.
Yes.
And you took the 2 courses through,
No,
or you dropped one.
I was to drop the French.
Was it?
Was it? And then supported by, I wanted to do. I had to do linguistics. I wanted to do Arabic, but my Egyptian head of department, he was a French scholar, but an Egyptian, he advised that my French, according to him, was so good that I should not dilute it with another language.
Okay.
So eventually I chose linguistics,
Linguistics.
which I didn't like. And so I joked with it, attended lectures when I wanted, and did exercises when I wanted. And then at the end of the year, I almost failed. In fact, I don't know, up to today, I don't know
How you
what
passed.
happened to make me pass. But that was what drew me to faith in Christ. Because I was joking with all these things. Then when it came time for the exam, we took the exam and I saw failure staring me in the face. Then I had to, a friend who is still very close to me, Andrew Loco, he invited me to the fellowship meeting in the room and I started going, because by that point I had lost faith in God. I was reading all those funny French philosophers. Jean-Paul Sartre, Simone de Beauvoir, Albert Camus, and so on.
And then after Legon, you continue with French?
After Legon, I taught for 2 years at St. Augustine's.
Oh, you went to teach French in St. Augustine's in Cape Coast?
In Cape Coast for 2 years.
Wow. Which year?
69 to 71.
Wow.
Then went to France for a year and then came back and went to France.
Oh, to teach?
Yes.
So you taught in St. Augustine's?
And then taught in
so you probably would have been there 73-ish?
72 to early 76.
Oh, 3 years.
Yes.
4 years, actually.
Almost, yes.
Almost 4 years.
3.5 years.
Well, that's a whole generation.
Yes.
And do you have any names of some of the people you taught?
Oh, yes. There is this young man, I could say young man, Awatri. He became...
VRA?
Yes, VRA.
The light skin Awatri?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And who became...
Where's the mining? Talo, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he was one of the students.
One of the students in the first film. They were very good, and I had selected to teach them because when I went to Augustine's, I didn't have much choice in the classes I took. So the one group was Form 2 and then Lower 6. Lower 6 I was happy with. But the Form 2 students, they had been taught in Form 1 and they had made up their minds that French was difficult, so we weren't going to do it.
Abusa.
They were just waiting for the opportunity to drop it.
Yes.
So you did everything you could. So by the time I went to French film, I was clear that if I was going to teach the lower levels, it would be Form 1.
Okay.
And the experiment worked beautifully at the French film.
Wow.
The group that I started Form 1 with.
Apart from Awatri, does any name come to mind?
Oh, there was one Akushi.
Akushi.
Who else? Now I've forgotten some of them.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But Augustine's, there was Dr. Afriye, the politician.
Oh, Dr. Afriye, the MPP man?
Yes.
The one that Alban Bagwin was trying to shadow.
I taught him.
Oh, you taught him in St. Augustine's?
Yes.
What, does he remember?
Yes, he does.
Wow, he's another good one. Yeah, the medical doctor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Very solid, very serious human being. Yeah. All right, so then after teaching, having the bouts of teaching, how did you progress?
Well, I enjoyed teaching, and I had hoped to make it my lifelong career, except that those guys at the Ghana Education Service, did everything to discourage you. Simply put.
I hope it's changed though.
I hope so. But if they were doing that at the time, 1976, I wonder.
Whether anything had changed. Yes.
Because I had done 5 years. It was time for my promotion. I was asked to apply. I applied to the head of the school, The head of school transmitted my letter to GES. GES just wouldn't bother. So he went from the transferring to the regional office to chase it, and whenever you left it, it remained at the same spot place, until you came back. And then it went on. So I asked them, why do you do that? Well, if you don't want to, if you can't stand it, you can leave. Imagine that the man who is supposed to facilitate things for me so that I can remain in the classroom tells me that if I'm fed up with that type of, I can leave teaching.
That's your cue for exit.
Yes. And as things God will have it, soon after that there was an advert in the papers, and I joined the civil service.
Oh, okay.
At that point. So I joined the civil service in the mid-management level.
Okay.
You know, I didn't start from
the lower rank.
No. Mm-hmm. And because I started from that point, the management of the civil service thought that I should not go to GIMPA. They would rather look for a management training program outside the country. And the French one became the best. So there was a French government scholarship to go and do a diploma in public administration in France. And all they needed is your capacity to understand. Mm-hmm. I went to France.
So you went back to France?
Went back to France. Back to France, there was the opportunity to do a master's alongside the diploma.
Oh, okay.
Yes. That if you scored over 65% in your diploma in public administration exam, you were allowed to do the master's.
Okay.
So that's what happened.
So you ended up
doing the master's.
Oh, good.
And when I finished the master's and defended the thesis, the panel thought that my dissertation was so good, they gave me 80/20.
Wow.
No. That I should come back and do the doctorate. I wasn't interested. They gave me a paper to write an application on there and then.
Wow.
I don't know whether they read something in my attitude to hell with this doctorate thing. So they gave me the paper. I wrote an application and then gave it to them and left. And they changed it.
Wow. After you came back to Ghana?
After I came back to
Ghana. This will be late 70s, right?
No, I went first in 1980. So 81 December, I defended my thesis and came home. So 82, I came home, I think about 1 week before the
31st December coup.
Mm-hmm. So it was in around September 82 that I got to know that the French embassy had been looking for me to tell me the good news that I had been offered a scholarship to do the doctorate.
Oh.
And I wasn't aware.
Wow. But at this time you were working in the civil service?
Yeah, in the civil service.
As what?
I was recruited as a senior assistant secretary.
So we'll take a short break. When we come back, he'll walk us through, if you like, the organogram of the civil service structure, where you enter, how you progress up to what we used to call principal secretary, which I think is the converted the chief director now, right?
No, they've converted into director.
Director. Okay,
yes.
So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll hear all about the civil service. This is Footprint. Welcome back. This is Footprint. I have Dr. Alex Glover Quartey here, and we're talking about the civil service of Ghana. And Doc, so we're trying to understand the structure of the civil service at the time and what the organogram looked like. So how was it when one wanted to enter the civil service with, say, a degree or from secondary school? Where did you enter and how was it for you?
Right. Thank you very much. This is a very important question. The civil service of Ghana, as you know, or you probably have read somewhere, it was reputed to be highly efficient in the colonial days. In fact, it was said to have rivaled or could rival anywhere in the world. The civil service was made up of what we call different classes. There was the administrative class, made up of young men and women with different types of qualifications, but who were all equipped and trained to work, to analyze policy, propose policy initiatives, or propose policy to the politician. So they went all the way up to what in the British system was called the permanent secretary. Permanent because he remained in the same ministry almost throughout his career. So when a new minister was appointed, it was a minister who came and who was giving directions and information about what to do and what not to do. In other words, the permanent secretary, Ministry of Information, was there all the time. Changes are made in government. There's a reshuffle of the cabinet. A new minister arrives. The new minister knows that he is new to the place. So he depends on the permanent secretary to take him through the ropes.
So this permanent secretary then would be, if you like, the head, the administrative head of the institution.
Administrative head
of the ministry.
Of the ministry.
Okay.
And the administrative head of the ministry was responsible for the financial management and the administrative management.
Of the entire ministry.
Yes. The minister never touched money and didn't have to do anything about money. He would have to depend on the
permanent secretary.
For that. Now, the minister, well, over the years, especially during Broma's time, they got or found the term permanent secretary offensive.
Who found it offensive?
The politicians.
Okay, all right.
That so what are you saying? That you are always there, and I'm a bed of passage. So they changed it to principal.
So from permanent secretary to principal secretary.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is why when you go to any Commonwealth secretary, Commonwealth country, the term that is used is still permanent secretary. The UK still uses it, Singapore still uses it, Malaysia still uses it. The last time I checked, Kenya still uses it. So it's permanent secretary.
All right.
So when you join the service, there is administrative officer, class 5, then class 3, then class 2, then class 1. As you go up, you reduce the
numbers, yeah.
Yes. So by the time between class 4 and class 1, you are moved around.
Moved around the same ministry or
no, different ministries. You can be moved from finance to agri, to health, and so on, till you get to permanent. Then you stay in one ministry. And that is what makes you the, if you like, guru of that subject. So when the minister comes, you are able to guide him, and he doesn't make any faux pas. Government decided to create another level. So they created the position of senior principal secretary.
When was this? Which years are we?
This was about
the 80s?
Late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
So there were some people, BKO2, GY Odoe, people like SB Jones. They were senior principal secretaries. Even I remember Sai was up, EA Sai was promoted senior principal secretary. And then when Rawlings came in 79, he was so mad with the top hierarchy of the civil service. So they were those that he attacked.
Really?
Oh yes, they were attacked.
For what did they do what did they do wrong?
They were accused of being responsible for a lot of the corruption in the civil service. I always have to argue with my friends who are politicians that, you see, they blame civil servants for the corruption. According to them, the civil servant takes whatever he wants to take, and then the politician is blamed. But from my experience, I tell them, look, it is when the civil servant sees that the politician is taking whatever he wants to take with impunity that he also decides to help himself.
They want to align.
Yes. And when that happens, the politician is unable to sanction the civil servant.
Because he's also doing it.
Because he's doing it.
Yeah.
The civil servant sees you do it. And I must say that some of them were really, brazen. Some of the civil servants became so bold that they demanded whatever they thought should come to them. If he's approving an amount in millions of cedis or dollars for importation of something, he wants to know what he can get out of it. And I have heard of cases, and I believe they are true because of where they came from. That if you don't give me, I'm not going to give you your.
So those were some of the stories flying around at the time Jerry Rawlings came in.
Yes. So
Okay.
we decided to deal with them.
Okay.
Now, when he came, in fact,
But did he understand the civil service himself?
I don't think he tried to. I don't think he tried to.
Could he really be bothered?
And you know, even the structure in the military, I don't think he understood it. You know. So there was the administrative class. You entered from the lowest and climbed, and as you went along, you were sent to a short course here, a short course there, and it prepares you as you go up.
What was the relationship of the civil service with GIMPA, the institution GIMPA?
GIMPA was initially established as the Institute of Public Administration.
Okay.
That was the name, Institute of Public Administration. And it was set up by the UN to help Ghana train
Civil servants.
civil servants.
Oh, okay.
Mainly the administrative class we are talking about. So a time came when you joined the civil service admit class. Immediately you were sent to GIMPA for 6 months, where you did the rudiments of administration and all that, did some law, the administrative law that enabled you to understand.
So it was for capacity building for the senior civil servants.
Yes, so you were equipped to deal with all this.
Yeah.
And then you would go back to the office, and after a year, return to GIMPA for 3 months, and that's when you got the diploma in public administration.
Oh, okay.
Then later, the idea was mooted and accepted that you should open it up for the private sector, because they also need them. So that's when its name was changed from IPA to GIMPA.
To GIMPA, okay.
You know, because then it was IPA, Institute of Public Administration. Then it became Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. So it went on, and then.
But they used to. Was it referred to as Green Hill College at some point?
The area is called Green Hill.
Oh, that area is the area
Yes.
called Green Hill.
Yeah, the area.
Because I remember a reference to Green Hills
Yes.
something.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's there.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then it got to a point when the government was unable to provide the adequate resources for managing the institute. Now, it had been set up for a purpose to train
Yeah.
and equip civil servants. Now, the organization or the government which is supposed to provide the result is unable to do so. GIMPA was struggling. So the head of the institute at the time, Dr. Stephen Adair, managed to persuade government to accept that they will pay salaries of lecturers and so on and run the institute on the condition that they could also charge fees. Government, perhaps without thinking through it, or because they were going to be relieved of the financial burden, just accepted. So when I became head of civil service,
Which year did you become head of civil service?
2003,
3, okay.
they were saying, GIMPA was saying, well, if you want to come, you pay like anybody else.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you pay commercial fees like anybody else.
That if you're coming from the civil service.
Wherever you were coming from, you pay, including civil service.
Right.
So we said, no. It brought distortions into the civil service. Before then, 10 people who had finished the university and joined the civil service would be invited in bulk to go and do the
training program.
DPA, Diploma in Public Administration. And then they would come back and so on. What started happening was that ministries which managed to get some money could send their officers
staff to their place, yeah.
on the course. Those which did not have enough resources just left the
disadvantaged, yeah.
10 of us who finished the same year and joined the civil service, by the end of 5 years, you can have somebody from one ministry, maybe finance, maybe energy, those which were really,
resourceful financially, yeah.
You could have somebody who's gone on 2-3 courses. And in another ministry, there are some who have not gone on any course. But if that was all, it might not be so serious. But you use the courses as a basis for promotion. It got to a point where without the DPA, you cannot progress from one level to another. So those who were in the good ministries or rich ministries, they were fine. Those which were in poor ministries, they could not be.
We don't know which ones are the poor ministries.
Oh, there are ministries that could not, for instance, if you were in the ministry of
labor.
Maybe labor, social welfare.
Social welfare.
And if you were.
Kwacha no did the Kwacha.
Yes. So you had maybe a Greek, because they had a lot of programs from outside. The finance would have enough money to send these people there, and health might have money.
So they are funding and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even OHCS, they didn't have money.
Which one is that?
Office of the Head of the Civil Service.
Yeah, but they're just there.
Yes, so they can now send their officers on training.
So how did you resolve this?
Distortions. So I said, look, it's very simple. We would run courses ourselves. We will not send them to GIMPA. We have the Civil Service Training Center. You know where it is? At Cantonments. Near the European Union office.
Oh, okay.
Opposite.
Next to Aquinas, right?
Opposite Aquinas.
Aquinas.
Yes.
Yeah, Government Secretariat School.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is also the Civil Service Training Center.
Oh, okay.
So I refurbished it, and it used to be for lower levels.
Yes.
And that was where it came into the papers.
Yeah, I kind of remember something like that. But
fight.
we didn't understand. We were just happy. We were
because
happy.
it's demanding, come and pay before you come. And we don't have the money. We should solve problems rather than just...
So how did you resolve it?
At the time I left, I was looking elsewhere. In fact, I had even made arrangements with the Singapore Civil Service to come and train our people.
Wow.
Yes. And they had a better way of looking at things, because...
But you were going to pay them.
And it ended up but are not spending anything
Oh, okay.
much. The Commonwealth Secretariat was
prepared
prepared
to support.
to support those, so they will bring the people here to train our chief directors. And after the training, we could let them go for just about 2 weeks, a tour of Singapore, for them to
See how it's done
Yes.
in practice. Yeah.
because they have kept the same system. They are running the same system up to today. They are
You mean
still-
today
Yes,
or back then?
but today.
You mean 2024?
They are still using the same terminologies, have the same structures that we discarded. Now we don't even know what we have
Hey.
because we balkanize the civil service. You cut off health, you cut off what do you call it? Local government. You cut off this, and so what is left with the civil service? Virtually nothing.
Okay, so people, so this is Dr. Alex Glover-Quartey speaking as one-time head of civil service. These are very interesting points that he's bringing to the fore. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll still go back to the how things have moved on since he left and what transformations that he sought to see through while he was there. We'll be right back. Okay, so we are back, and we have Dr. Alex Glover-Quartey with us on Footprint. So, Doctor, we were still on the issue of the transformation in the civil service and what you tried to achieve and all that. So, and again, you started taking us through the structure. If we can finish that, and then you see what you tried to do with the civil service.
Yeah, with the structure then, we had the administrative class.
Which you talked about earlier.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then you had specialists,
Okay.
those who had done specific courses and could operate, let's say like those who worked in the labor department. Either they had done courses related to their work or they gone to do courses which made them operate specifically in the labor department.
Okay.
So all issues of labor, or they dealt with the TUC and all that, they would deal with. Then you had cooperatives. They also dealt with issues related to cooperatives, births and deaths and so on. Now, so you had people who had specialized in certain areas and who worked on matters related
To the subject areas.
Yes. Okay.
So are all ministries part of the civil service?
All ministries are part of the civil service.
Okay. Still are.
Still are.
Okay.
You see, it became fashionable to balkanize, cut off the civil service branches and turn them into state-owned organizations, or what do you call it? State-owned
Agencies.
or institutions.
Okay, like which one?
Oh, like for instance,
Meteorological.
Yes.
Okay.
You could have it off.
Of which ministry at the time?
Oh, it was under the Ministry of Environment and so on.
Okay.
And then you could.
But aren't they still an agency under the environment?
They are an agency under the government. But then they have a very high level of autonomy.
Okay.
And that is the interest that they have in fighting for that status.
Okay, so once they do that, are they taking off the civil service as a community?
They are taking off the civil service properly called.
Okay.
They become civil servant, public servant,
Public servants.
but they are no longer, even though they still are paid from the civil service vote or the public.
Public service vote, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, okay, Matthew is just one of several.
So yes. Oh, but you, any government institution that you can think of has been part of the civil service.
Okay.
Yes.
So they reduced it.
They cut it off. You know what happened?
But this was not your time. Was it before your time?
Oh, it has been going on all the time.
Including your time?
Since I left, others have been, since I left, local government has been cut off. You know.
Local government?
Now you have a local government service.
Service?
Yes,
it's
which is separate from the civil service.
And they are not part of ClockSAC. There's something called ClockSAC.
The ClockSAC
the association
is the unionized part of the civil service.
Yeah, and I'm saying that this...
But it has managed to bring the both
at that
sides
level,
together.
Led by Ate.
Led by Bampuado.
Bampuado,
yes.
Was my classmate.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Big man.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. So what were some of the reforms that you sought to execute when you were there?
What I tried to do first was to make the system efficient.
Efficient, all right.
The tendency we have in this country is to reject a structure or reject a system because, according to us, it's not functioning efficiently. Instead of identifying the issues that make, or the things that make the system not function efficiently, or the structure not function efficiently, we want to discard it completely and put in its place a new one. For instance, for you to get admission into the administrative class, you must have, at the time, upper,
second class upper.
Second class upper.
With your degree.
Or first class. They recruit you from your A level. A level, you must have done, for the 3 subjects, you must have got A. And then they pick you.
This is Singapore?
Singapore.
Okay.
Then they pick you. And when they pick you, they send you to Oxford or Cambridge in the UK, or they send you to Yale or Harvard, the top universities in the world. When you finish,
you come back.
Every year, long back, you come and work with them.
But you know, the reality is, people believe that the reward systems in the civil service in Ghana are relatively low.
Yes, at the time, the civil service salaries were far higher than those in the private company.
Okay, things have changed. I mean, it's a direct
Too
opposite.
much.
Yeah. So let me just ask one question. We are about rounding up. Dr. Glover Quartey, what do you think you'll be remembered for in your time as head of civil service?
I'm not sure. That one will be...
It's for them to tell you.
Yes, judgment of the people that I worked with, the people who were there. But I tried to improve the lot of the civil service, to let them know and to let the government know that it was important to give them the right remuneration. It didn't work out, and I don't think it has even worked out even now.
Has it gotten worse?
I'm not sure.
You mean you can't tell?
I can't tell.
You're not in a position to tell?
No.
Okay.
I'm not.
But when you, from where you sit, are you happy with the civil service? Or they could do better?
They, from where I sit and attending one or two of the functions, I see that they are rewarding themselves, giving themselves awards for achievements. I've attended some of the functions where chief directors were giving awards for being the best chief director.
They were giving themselves awards. No, if they are giving themselves awards, then it's fine. Nothing has changed. But to tell you, I'm a media person, and for the longest time I've been in the media, I have the feeling that the CLOGSAG, the association CLOGSAG, as it is now, has done a lot more to give the civil service, if you like, a positive positioning in the minds of people.
Okay.
Rather than the generic civil service, head of civil service unit itself. Well, we don't hear anything from them. So we hear CLOGSAG fighting for the lot of civil servants, negotiating and pushing. And that's been the interface between the public and the civil servants.
Well, that for just reasons. CLOGSAG has become the TUC of the civil service.
Very much so.
In our time, when I was a civil servant, civil servants were not allowed
to form their own.
No, to join the union. And
so civil,
of management level.
Proper civil servants were not part of the TUC at the time?
Were not, no.
Oh, okay.
No, we're not.
So rightly so, they now have CLOGSAG.
Now they have CLOGSAG, and now they are allowed to join at any level. Because before then, if you were at the managerial level, you couldn't join.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So now they can give it support, and now CLOGSAG is recognized as the mouthpiece of the civil service. So civil and local government service. That's why it's CLOGSAG.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so.
But do they consult you from time to time?
Oh.
Maybe consult is too strong a word. Are they in touch with
they are. They invite me to the
for dinner when they're having dinner.
No, especially when they're having their annual performance appraisal.
Oh wow!
System. Yes, they invite me
because for the wealth of experience and information and knowledge that you have while you are alive and still strong. I think that we can do a lot more to buy into your brains, as some of us do. But by mere coincidence, the gentleman who is head of civil service now,
yes,
do you know him?
School.
Was also an old student of Swedu Secondary
yes,
School.
Yes.
Oh, did you push him there?
No, had nothing to do with it. I just learned that he had been appointed the acting head of the civil service.
That was Dr. What's his name? I forget his name. Yeah.
Agredakun.
Dr. Agredakun.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Dr. Agredakun, I salute you. You are at the head of civil service. You have to help your secondary school because, Charlie, I have to say it on national TV so that if you don't help and something happens, we are hard guys.
Yes.
Okay, Doc, we have to thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
It's been a lot of education for some of us. But this civil service thing has been like, Charlie, we only hear about civil service in the news, but at least now you have told us. and we thank you. And you've shared your experiences, and I'm particularly excited about the Swedish Secondary School, you know. And so we'd like to thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Good. So people, it's been another episode of Footprint with Dr. Alex Quartey, former head of Civil Service Ghana. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back another time.